State employment leaders say unemployment has dropped from June to July, and not only that, some businesses are hiring in the New Orleans area. As Duke Carter reports, the jobs are in many different sectors of the economy.
According to the secretary with the Louisiana Workforce Commission, Ms. Ave Dejoie, she says that the New Orleans unemployment numbers are actually dropping. For the month of July, according to the Louisiana Workforce Commission, the rate here in New Orleans, the unemployment rate here in New Orleans actually dropped from 12.8% to 11.9%, which is nearly a full percentage point. Now, according to state leaders, the reason for the downward trend is partially COVID related. While they couldn't pinpoint specifics, Louisiana Workforce Commission leaders say part of the reason is how people in the state, those patients are recovering from COVID. Also, it all depends on how each parish, whether it be Orleans, St. Bernard, St. John Baptist Parish, how each parish is handling COVID as well. Another potential factor, according to state leaders, they claim is specifically what industries are hiring here in Louisiana. Now, leaders say they have seen people call for workers specifically in the healthcare industry, food and service industry. Take a listen to what state leaders had to say.
I think it's one of those things, no one can say that the unemployment rates that we're currently experiencing are a great thing. Certainly, it's not a great time when our nation is facing a health pandemic. And until we recover fully from the health pandemic, the job market is not going to fully recover.
Now, state leaders also say jobs in the COVID-related area, like people taking temperatures as well as contract trace workers, those jobs are in hot demand right now. Now, as far as the unemployment across the state, according to state leaders from June to July, the latest numbers on file, it was 13.1% to now 10.5%. For now reporting, Duke Carter, Eyewitness News.